3, 2. Welcome back to Bad Movies Rule, and today we've got an all-timer. It's like someone watched shark movies. Dang it! I messed that up. Welcome back to Bad Movies Rule, the worst movie podcast in history, and today we've got an all-timer. It's like someone watched the classic shark movie and then said, we're going to need a bigger brain. We're talking about Deep Blue Sea.
I see what you did there.
You like that?
I like that.
That's the Jaws effect. We'll talk about that. Good morning, everybody. It's not even the morning.
It's afternoon.
I'm so used to recording this so early before the sun comes up that this just force of habit at this point. Welcome in. How's everybody doing today?
Good. How are you?
Wonderful.
I'm great. We have a new person joining the show for the first time ever. We're going to introduce him right now, Mr. Ryan Farrell. How are you, Ryan?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Look at that. Good.
The crowd loves you, Ryan. They suck it all
Yay. Yay.
because no one cares.
I know my reputation precedes me.
Ryan, we've known, I've known for at least 12 years now.
12 years.
That's right. We worked on a little movie together,
15.
Bomberman. Was that 15 years ago?
I did a stunt for you in 2006.
I forgot about that.
He's the Wikipedia memory.
I was hooked up to a harness, and you pulled me off of your porch in Paddock Lake.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. All right. See, I was only going back to Bomberman, but it's been a long time. Ryan himself is a filmmaker and Mr. Wikipedia when it comes to movies and knows all kinds of things. And we've been trying to get him on the show for a long time, but he's finally here. So welcome, Ryan. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Joining us also is Ryan's hetero life mate, Bob Hauser. How are you, Bob?
I'm great. How are you?
Good.
Not so silent, Bob.
That's right.
I speak. And smash expensive equipment, so.
Well, you know what? Today is the day for all of the above. So hopefully we're not smashing equipment because we're so angry at each other's opinions about Deep Blue Sea.
Why? It's a very simple, awesome movie. I liked it better than Hamilton.
I know, but every week lately, it seems that there's always a huge difference of opinion. So I don't know. Maybe we'll finally have an episode where everyone's on the same page, but probably not.
It'll be the shortest episode you ever did.
That's right.
We always say that, and it never is.
It never is.
Like Clint was expecting Ernest Saves Christmas to be a 10-minute episode.
Right. He called me during that week, and he's like, there's nothing to talk about with this movie. And 90 minutes later.
How did it? And then Suburban Commando was an hour and a half. So
That's right. Joining us also today is Mel Vandy. Mel, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
How's the shoe store going?
Oh, it's delightful with the Christmas season upon us.
I bet selling shoes right now has got to be a terrible thing.
It was shoe store
People
going?
shuffling right in.
That's literally what he's been doing for 20 years, selling shoes.
Dude, married with children style, like you.
I'm like the Al Bundy in real life.
That's right.
Do you put both hands in your pants or just one?
Just one.
Okay.
And riding in on the cosmic waves of the interweb like the Silver Surfer all the way from Omaha, Nebraska, we've got Brady Cox with us today. Brady, how are you, sir?
Brady!
I'm good.
Where's Brady's,
How are you?
Where's Brady's audience?
Brady gets claps. We'll give some claps to Brady.
I'll take them.
Brady's actually live with his own in-studio audience.
That's right. He's a laugh track and everything over there. Can't wait for you guys to hear it.
Yeah.
Well, this is going to be a good episode, I think, today, because this is a movie that when I originally thought, let's start talking about bad movies and have a podcast in a short list of 10 movies, this was definitely one of the first ones that I thought about.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So were you not a fan?
No. I'm a fan. And so that's kind of what we'll talk about now in a second here. We're going to get the vitals of the movie out of the way and I'll get your overall impressions of the film. But I think this movie fits perfectly into the formula of a bad movie that rules.
Absolutely.
Okay. So this is what I mean. This is why one of the ones I thought of. Not that it's one of my favorite movies ever, but I feel like it fits perfectly.
It's definitely in the top 5 shark movies of all time.
Yeah, at least the top 20.
There's only 5.
Yeah.
There's only really 5 good shark
There's been
movies.
lots of shark movies.
Look, let's be honest. We could call it possibly the second greatest shark attack movie of all time.
Wow. All right.
I disagree.
I'll go with 4. I'll give you 4. Here's the list. I'll give you the list. Number 1, Jaws. Number 2, Jaws 2. Number 3,
Jaws 3.
no, hold on.
Jaws 4.
No, hold on.
4,
Then
Jaws
3.
4.
The Shallows. The Shallows. Number 3, I say 3, right? 3.
Yes.
Number 4, Deep Blue Sea, and then number 5, The Meg.
No
The Meg.
Sharknado.
Okay, that I can't.
Sharknado,
Sharknado 2?
Number 6.
number
Yeah,
6.
Brady's right. Number
Yeah.
6.
Sharknado, the fourth awakens.
If we're ranking Jaws movies, 4, The Revenge, goes before 3. It goes 1, 2, 4, 3.
yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Because there's no
absolutely.
other
Okay.
movie that electrically shocks a shark with a flashlight out of the
Right.
ocean. Like,
It's all moved after 2.
I mean, he stabs it with the boat and it explodes.
yes.
Okay.
That's how it
Right.
happens.
That's right.
Yes.
Well, let's get your general overall impressions of the movie. Just in short, or Bob, what do you think of Deep Blue Sea?
Awesome. Thought it was good.
Okay.
Really enjoyed it. I had I've seen it many times. I think I watched this a lot in the winter break of '99 because it came out in the summer.
Yes, you did.
I did. You remember that?
Remember,
So I watched it a lot, and I thought it was like one of the coolest things.
this was one of the Bob specials right there with like X-Men,
Yes.
Wild Wild West,
Yes. Yep.
Deep Blue Sea. These are the ones he had on rotation. He had like a 6-disc changer, and it would like it just change between these.
And
Was
you're
it
tell-
disc
and-
or was
and
it
then you're-
VHS?
Yeah, well, yeah. No, in the late '90s, I think you had the DVD
It did.
of X-Men. I know you did for
I
sure.
did.
Yeah.
You did
Yeah.
too. I remember that.
I had the VHS collection beforehand. Yeah.
I thought you bought the DVD.
I did. Oh, of this. If we're talking about this movie,
Yeah.
yeah. But I don't think you ever had a VHS collection at that point.
No, I
You
went
came into
shifted to
DVDs,
DVD.
right? Because you're a little baby
Oh yes.
compared to me, anyway.
Still holding a grudge.
So, Ryan, overall impressions. What do you think of Deep Blue Sea?
It's all right. You know, I'll tell you. It is the second greatest shark attack movie of all time, but it is also absolutely dumb.
It's definitely number 2. I'll back you up on that one.
Yes.
Why is it dumb?
And I'll say you did mention The Shallows with Blake Lively, which it is a toss-up because The Shallows is a fantastic movie.
Yes, because she's missing 90% of her underwear.
Because it's about rebirth. It takes the gravity formula of
She's missing-
single white
missing-
female in turmoil.
She's missing. I don't care about the single white female crap. She's missing her underwear. That's why you liked it.
No, because it's a great movie about a rebirth.
Your
So,
mom-
full confession,
So-
I've actually never seen The Shallows, but I
I'm,
will. If it's that good, I will.
It's
see it.
awesome. It's
It is.
amazing.
I'm
very
definitely going to
awesome.
see it
Yeah.
based on his review.
yeah.
So, all right. But
You like
overall,
Gravity, you'll like The
Vandy
Shallows.
is pointing
No one
at
like
the
Gravity.
ceiling.
so
Not a
overall,
single
you would,
person like Gravity.
you would say great movie, but super dumb.
It's absolutely dumb.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
Mel, what's your overall impression of the film?
You don't want to know.
Do you actually?
Well,
think
you already
he li-
called it number 2.
Do you
Yes.
actually think he likes anything?
Yes.
So you-
There
Yes,
you go.
this movie is definitely a plopper.
Fair enough. There's a floater, and it's not one of the sharks.
Yes, definitely
Okay.
not.
Got it.
It's Michael Rappaport's leg.
It's Michael Rappaport in general.
Oh, come on. That's the greatest New Yorker
all right.
in movies. He's
All
the
right.
greatest New Yorker.
Brady, was this the first time you'd ever seen it? What do you think of this movie?
I believe I saw this in the theater,
Okay.
just based on the lineup of who's in it, and me loving Michael Rappaport,
Yeah.
Yes.
and LL Cool J, and Sam Jackson.
I'll give
So
you 2
yeah,
out of 3.
I know I've seen this before.
Okay.
And we'll talk about one of the greatest scenes. Like, it's unfortunate that one of the greatest scenes in like a horror movie happens in such a bad movie.
Oh man.
But we'll get to that later.
Okay.
There's also like, I have really strong feelings about the plot in general. But we'll get to that.
We'll get to it. I can't wait to hear.
Yeah, I really want to
They
hear
should
that.
have just renamed the movie Smart Sharks.
This
Well, that's what I'm saying. We'll see. Well, let's get the vitals of this movie out of the way so we can dive into the film. This movie was directed by, no, I'm going to hold up. I almost said the great Rennie Harlan, and I don't think that's necessarily.
Joe, why not?
Well,
Hey, he is the greatest Finnish filmmaker of all time.
He's a very
That's why-
accomplished filmmaker.
he's certainly more accomplished than me. That's
He
not
gave us Long Kiss Goodnight. He gave us
Yes.
Die Hard 2, Die Harder.
right.
He gave us Deep Blue Sea, which
Right.
we're going to talk about.
But
But what?
Cutthroat Island, I think, is what takes the great away from
Cutthroat
Rennie
Island's a
Harlan.
good film. It's just
It
ahead
is a
of its
good
time.
film.
Cutthroat Island's ahead of its
Is that
time.
on
It
our
is.
list?
It is on the list. It's also one of the most legendary bombs in Hollywood history, right? I mean, that movie
Right.
bombed
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's definitely ahead of its time.
and destroyed Gina Davis's career for like 15 years. She
That's
just
true.
dropped off the face of the earth. Unless there was a Stuart Little movie coming out, she was like, I don't want anything to do with it anymore.
That's true.
Well, she got relegated to TV.
Right.
Yeah. She had to do that Commander-in-Chief show or something.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. So the movie was directed by Rennie Harlan. He was written by 3 people, okay? So it was Duncan Kennedy, who really wrote nothing else of consequence besides this.
Point of order, it was actually written by 7 people, but 4 people yanked their names off.
Well, yeah, I meant the credited writers.
There you go.
Credited
They
writers.
didn't want to touch it once they saw it.
They're like, nope, please take my name off. No, these are the 3 credited writers.
Right.
So it was Duncan Kennedy and the husband and wife duo of Donna and Wayne Powers. And the only other real thing that they wrote was The Italian Job in 2003.
They also wrote Valentine.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And have you ever? Are you a fan?
Yeah, it was a good movie.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
What's a good movie?
The movie Valentine, the horror movie from
That was
like
trash.
2000 with Denise Richards.
Yes, because everyone tuned in to see more of Denise Richards, and he got denied. Trash movie.
Okay. We're going to sit here for the next 10 minutes and argue about whether or not Donna and Wayne Powers are good writers.
They suck. Move on.
It lacked plot, is what you're saying.
The movie had a great cast. It starred Thomas Jane, Saffron Burrows, Samuel L. Jackson, Michael Rappaport, Stellan Skarsgård, and LL Cool J. The budget of this movie, it was a box office success. It was a $60 million budget that grossed $165 million, made $100 million, but currently sits just under the threshold that we set for bad at a 5.9 on IMDb and at 59% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's 1% away from being fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. But the audience score is actually 39%. The audience hated the movie more than the critics did.
I'm going to knock that down to 38% here in a minute. Yeah, right.
I'll get on there and do that. But Brady, does that surprise you that normally a dumb shark movie like this would probably be more liked by people than the critics usually?
Yeah, like I'm amazed that they found that many critics to pay off.
Wow.
Must be Marvel executives.
Yeah, I was surprised to see it too.
Because there's no other explanation for that. Let's be honest.
It's look, here's what I'll say about the movie. The movie is basically it's aliens, right? Monster chases people through facility, picking them off one at a time, mixed with Jaws, right? It's like, okay, let's take these two.
You know what?
Yeah.
Can I get back to my issue with the plot?
Yeah, let's do it.
And let's talk about
really
the writers
burning.
as well.
Okay.
Michael Crichton wrote this movie.
No, he
This
didn't.
is Jurassic Park. This movie is Jurassic Park.
It is.
Tell me I'm wrong.
No, it's I think it's aliens, but it's also Jurassic Park because Jurassic Park is kind of aliens
In a park.
in a way, in a park,
In a park.
right?
As opposed to in
I mean, if
space.
every action movie eventually goes back to Die Hard, don't they? Every monster movie kind of go back to maybe
Okay,
beyond
so
aliens.
we're on an island,
That's
right?
Yeah.
We've messed with the genetics of some animal, right?
Yes.
Oh, there's a storm, right? Then the animals get out and try to
animal
eat everybody.
escapes. There's a storm.
Jurassic
The animal
Park.
escapes.
Look, just one time in a movie, I'd like for scientists to play God and everything just go perfectly fine.
That would be great.
Why can't that? That never happens. Has any of these scientists ever watched a movie once?
No.
Right?
No.
No, they're in
they didn't-
school. They're not stupid movie watchers.
Right. They spend their time doing real science
That's right.
work.
And reading books.
I wish. Well, even at one point, Stellan Skarsgård says, somebody goes, "Oh my God," he goes, "Not God, ours." And I'm like, bro, you've clearly never seen a movie. You don't even realize you're a mad scientist.
Yeah, but that was the best part about him. That was one of 3 quotable lines that he had.
He was the dumbest character.
And he was around for 10 minutes. Well, I want to get too far into it.
Too far into it, but that's going to be a big part here.
It is. It is. But you're right, Brady. It's basically they took whether you say Jurassic Park, which as you lay it out is probably even the best fit, or it's Aliens, or it's Jaws, or it's all of those 3 things put
Sister
together.
Act 2.
It's a little bit of Sister Act 2. And then all it does is really just invoke better movies that I'd rather be watching other than this. Okay.
Exactly.
But that doesn't mean that in the time that I spend with it, I didn't enjoy myself, because I did.
True.
But I feel like I don't enjoy it when I just went back to it now for the first time, probably in at least 10 years. I didn't enjoy it as much as I did the first time around, because some of the stuff did not age well at all.
Well, of course, it's all about relativity at that point.
Sure.
Which there's a great line about relativity in the movie.
There is the theory of relativity, according to LL Cool J.
Yes, which is the best theory of relativity you can ask for. But really, it's so like from Bob and I's perspective, right? So the movie came out in '99.
Yeah.
I remember my cousin and I walking to Blockbuster and renting the VHS in the winter or fall of '99, whenever it was released.
That's right.
And yeah, we watched, the 24-hour rental. We watched it 3 times in a night. Like, as a 12-year-old, that's an awesome thing to do.
And weren't those the days? Just walk to Blockbuster, pick out a couple movies. You knew you were going to probably convince mom and dad to get pizza when you got back, right?
Domino's pizza.
And you were just set for the night. Those were the freaking
You were
days.
set for the weekend almost, because the pizza would get cold and then you could just eat it, 6 hours later and you're still watching Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah, we've lost something in the age of, I don't know. I still enjoy watching movies, but that's an experience we'll never get back.
No, it's something that no one will understand past, 2004 maybe?
Yeah.
Sadly, I can't throw this one back at the movie clerk.
Yeah. Say, what were you thinking?
Right.
Oh, man. We had the best people, I feel like, that worked at our Blockbuster too in Antioch. They were super cool. Rarely did they ever steer me wrong where I had to come back and chuck something at them and go.
Who was the orange hair lady at Blockbuster?
The orange? Well, Benny's mom, Liz, worked there for a long time. And she's pretty much who I always dealt with.
I always dealt with an orange lady.
She was the best.
There was that lady that worked at the bank for years, and then she went over there.
That's right.
She just made the rounds in downtown Antioch.
Pretty much. She made some rounds, all right.
Pretty much. Well, look, guys, let's just dive in this movie, because we got so much to get through, and I feel like everybody has a lot to say, which I love. Jump in, and as soon as we get to something, just stop me if there's something that you guys want to say. Otherwise, I'm just going to kind of keep the ball rolling. Since I'll cut this part out, but just so this is your first episode, I'm kind of just driving towards the end, and I'm waiting for you guys to say, hold on, let me want to say this, right? Otherwise, I'm just going to keep going, okay?
So all right. Rudely interrupt you.
Right, or just give me some kind of signal that you have something that you want to say, right? Like, start going like this.
Don't cut this part out.
All right.
So we are going to dive into the Deep Blue Sea.
We are immediately, actually, because this movie starts off like every classic horror movie with a bunch of teenagers making out on a catamaran.
I don't think they were teenagers. I think they were college students.
They might have been college. I think they were college.
Hold on.
kids.
If they look
18.
under 30, then they're teenagers in movies, because they never cast actual teenagers to play
That's
teenagers.
true. Okay, all right.
Right? Just because we never find out, they probably would have been like, we're 14.
That orange swimsuit was awesome.
Okay. This is the third time we've been recording for 15 minutes. Third time you've mentioned somebody's lack of clothing. Are you okay today?
Well, they
I'm good,
started
man.
the film with it. I mean,
Like I said, I'm good. I'm good.
All right.
They got me where I wanted them.
Yeah. Well, at least they didn't waste a whole lot of time getting to a shark attack.
No.
And they're contractually obligated in any shark movie to start with the underwater shot, looking up at somebody's,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
More or less.
I mean, honestly, like, this deserves a trope.
Oh, let me do that again.
that was the theme for Deep Blue Sea.
Kinda weak.
Yeah, big time major shark trope.
Hey, the theme for Deep Blue Sea.
That was literally
actually bad.
that's basically the theme for Deep Blue Sea right there.
Well, the whole movie's one big trope, so it's apt.
So this movie is like
That's a
Deep
good
Rising
point.
to you?
That's right.
Everything's a trope?
No.
Pretty much.
No.
It's better than Deep Rising.
I don't know.
It is.
Wait a minute.
Uprising is more
Bell's
disturbing.
Yeah, much more disturbing. I mean, you didn't need somebody half digested.
Where was Treat Williams in the making of Deep Blue Sea?
Does Treat Williams make Deep Blue Sea a better movie?
Yes, absolutely.
No way.
Right now.
100%. He rides it on a Rave Runner with 2 double-barrel shotguns.
This Thomas Jane dude, I don't know who he is or what
Tom
he's done
Jane was not
otherwise.
by. That's the thing about Tom Jane in this movie. I didn't really buy him.
Thomas Jane is great.
Yeah, but
LL Cool
At what?
J
But
is the
not-
MVP of the movie.
not
He's-
so much in this
He was
movie.
the Punisher at one point. I
Yes,
mean,
as
give
the
him
Punisher,
respect.
he was great, but in this movie, he was like, I'm a summer guy with my orange hair and my beach bod. And
Well, they didn't give him a whole lot to.
I swim with sharks.
Okay, first of all, the fact that
Let's also be fair. This was
Yeah.
pre any fame for Tom Jane.
Well,
This was his big
he was
break.
he was the heartthrob. You could clearly tell he was the only guy without a shirt on, and he swims with sharks. That's
Right.
a panty dropper right there that they were trying to get.
listen,
Discount.
the fact that I know they were trying to set up his character like, look how cool and aloof and awesome I am. Oh, and I swim with shark. But to me, he just came off as a moron. Like you risked your life to get a license plate out of a shark's mouth.
Yes.
Fun
Yeah,
fact.
right.
Did you recognize the license plate?
Yeah, it's the
That
license
is
plate
license
from
plate from
Jaws.
Jaws.
Oh,
There's
is
so
it?
many
It is.
Jaws
It
shows.
is.
Okay.
It is.
They
I
ripped,
remember this better movie that was once out. Wouldn't you rather be watching that? That's what they're saying.
Well,
Jaws.
okay, to be fair, at least they did it in the first 5 minutes.
That's
So
true.
like, yeah, here's the Jaws reference for everybody. Now let's
All
get
right,
back
but I
to
don't
it.
want to get past the point where this shark just keeps headbutting the catamaran over and over and over again.
Yes.
You know,
And then who saves the day
Let's
after
talk
he,
about Jurassic Park again. The Jurassic Park. This is chicken or egg territory because this character basically ends up being Star-Lord in like the Jurassic World movies.
yes.
Forgive me for forgetting his name for
Chris Pratt?
half a second, but there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, this shark breaks through the middle of this catamaran, and they're all knocked off the boat. And these geniuses start pulling on the anchor rope,
Good camera
and it just
angles.
keeps coming out and out and out and out and out and out. And I'm like, oh, please eat them. I was already started this movie disappointed because
There were good camera angles at least.
they caught the shark before they could eat.
Who caught the shark? Only holding. Wait, does it replay that? He caught the shark with a rifle. What kind of a
Harpoon rifle?
A harpoon rifle.
A harpoon gun?
A harpoon crossbow rifle.
Yeah,
Yes.
And the shark stopped dead in its place, but Jaws pulled the whole freaking boat under and ate Quint.
well, look,
This
were
is so just
drugged.
because this guy just wearing nothing but a tank top was managed to pull an 18,000-pound shark from eating half-naked chicks. My name is
need a bigger
Tom
boat.
Jane.
Listen, this is the first instance of what will be a running issue through the movie is that the sharks are only as strong and as smart as they need to be for a certain scene, and then they're as weak and dumb as they need to be in another scene. There's no consistency.
No, you're 100% right. This is
So,
focusing.
Yeah. Yeah.
This shark was stopped dead in its tracks, and through the rest of the movie, we see it's like insanely powerful.
Well, I'm sure Brady will agree with this, but it's because the darts had carfanthanum in them.
They're adamantium.
Or, no, carfanthanum.
Adamantium.
What is carfanthanum?
The tranquilizer from Jurassic Park.
That's true.
When he shoots the T-Rex in Lost World, and they're like, Roland hit it with 2 darts of concentrated carfanthanum.
Carfanthanum.
Or whatever the invented,
The invented thing is.
anesthesia is for the movie.
Maybe it was horse dewormer.
Brady will know because I think I told him this a long time ago on many episodes. I love made up science words that they just stick into movies for mumbo jumbo. I think Howard the Duck was the other one where they were doing that.
Well, in this movie, they have
It's
the
always
Harvard
better than
genetics
using
compact.
a correct term wrongly, right?
I guess. Well, the plot of the movie is basically this. Before we get to the facility, apparently they are breeding these sharks as a way to cure Alzheimer's because they have, some kind of protein in their brain that, allows sharks to not get cancer, never get Alzheimer's, all that stuff, right? And they are using this grant from a pharmaceutical company, which Samuel L. Jackson works for,
And Ronnie Cox.
and Ronnie Cox.
I didn't know Ronnie Cox was in the movie.
First of all,
Yeah, Ronnie Cox, who doesn't say anything.
Uncredited.
why have Ronnie Cox just sit there and be quiet the entire time?
I don't know.
Because he looks like Ronnie Cox.
I know, but he's Cohagen. He's the guy from RoboCop.
He looks like he looks like he
Right.
fell. He got climbed out. He looks like he climbed back in the building because he's in the same outfit from RoboCop.
That's what I'm saying. You don't have the villain from Total Recall and RoboCop in your movie and just have him sit there behind a desk and not say a word.
Ronnie Cox versus
That's how
sharks.
powerful it was.
Would this movie be better if it was just Ronnie Cox armed with a shotgun just fighting sharks?
No, Ronnie Cox should have played an evil scientist that set the sharks free. He's always a bad guy. He's got to be a bad guy.
Think about this. though.
This had to
Go ahead.
this had to have been a favor
Right.
from some filmmaker where he's just like, yeah, I'll be in your movie, but I don't want any lines.
Right.
I think he was uncredited too.
He was. He wasn't even
He
on
was
the list.
uncredited, yeah.
Ronnie Cox was in, wasn't he in that Andrew Dice Clay movie that Rennie Harlan did?
I have no idea.
Think about this, though. If you had Samuel L. Jackson to talk for you, would you ever say a word?
Right. Just relay all questions to Samuel L. Jackson, please. Don't speak to me.
That's true.
And just sit there with the Ronnie Cox look on your face.
So Sam Jackson's this pharmaceutical rep who's going to now come out to.
He's the president of the board.
He's the president of the board.
Of the
there you go.
Chimera of
See, you
Chimera
paid more attention than I did. He's now coming because he's like, well, you guys, the money stuff,
you.
money. I better come and see what's going on with my
$20
money.
million.
Right.
200.
Oh, sorry.
Told you. It's Wikipedia.
$200 million that Mr. Franklin or whatever
Right.
his name is invested in this horrible project. And he has no idea about it because that's when we get into the terrible exposition of the movie of like, well, walk me through this. It's like, well, okay, this guy invested $200 million in this old ramshackle U-boat refueling facility from World War II.
And he knows nothing.
And he knows nothing about what's going on here.
Funny movie fact. That was James Cameron set from The Abyss.
Was it really?
No, it was the Titanic.
Was it the Titanic or The Abyss?
They filmed in the leftover water tank from Titanic.
Nice.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So it was that facility was made with James Cameron plot.
Well, the fact that Sam Jackson is coming out to the facility now is speeding up the timetable for they have to get results, right? So when he gets there, they're going to, do the experiment. They're going to capture one of the sharks, take some stuff out of his brain to see if it works, right? In short, that's basically the plot of the movie, right? But before we can do all that, we gotta meet the team, right? That's what these movies do. Let's introduce you to the team and show you how cool we are.
Or crappy.
And so, like he already said, the first guy we meet is Carter, the shark wrangler.
Carter the Shark Wrangler.
That's right.
Shark Wrangler, my cheeks together.
First question. How do you get that job as a shark wrangler?
Well, apparently you have to be a felon on parole.
Okay, that's step one.
Yeah.
But like, what's the job interview for that like? How do you get that job?
You like sharks?
Hey,
You want to swim with them?
how do you feel about swimming with live
have-
sharks?
Right.
Do you have biceps and abs?
It's like just throw 10 guys into a pool and the one that survives is the shark wrangler.
Absolutely.
Because I don't understand the qualifications for or how one even becomes a wrangler of sharks. That can't be a job where a lot of people make it for a long time.
I mean, how does Chris Pratt become a raptor wrangler?
The same question can be applied to Jurassic. This is Jurassic Park.
Oh God, there it is again.
Hold on. Did Jurassic
Well, in that case, Jurassic World ripped off
Deep Blue Sea?
That's
Thank
right.
you very
Yes.
much.
It came back around to the other side and circled around itself and imploded.
Oh,
They should really just make
space-time
a big.
continuum just made everything crazy.
Maybe what if we did a hybrid of Deep Rising, Deep Blue Sea, and Jurassic World all in one?
Deep Rising Park.
Deep Blue Sea Rising. Jurassic Blue Sea Rising.
Deep Blue Sea
There you
Rising
go.
World.
Yes.
Don't write a new script. Just take a third of each script and put it together.
Yeah, or just like, so
Absolutely.
Treat Williams is stopping these heist guys that are trying to break into an underwater shark
Stealing the
facility.
velociraptors.
They're going to steal the DNA under the water. I don't know.
Yeah.
This will be great.
Perfect.
Led by Jean-Claude
And the
Van Damme.
Declaration of Independence.
And then we meet.
You know that Bob would absolutely star in that movie.
You would. The next person on the team we meet is Scoggins, played by Michael Rappaport.
The best New Yorker of all time.
I like Michael.
love him.
You don't like Mike Rappaport?
No, he's a tool.
He's so good.
Really?
He's
Absolute
good at, well,
tool.
okay.
I thought he was on that.
Jewel.
I thought he was on that short list of just actors everybody likes. Like, who's another actor no one hates? Keanu Reeves. Nobody hates Keanu Reeves.
Nobody hates Keanu Reeves.
Ryan Reynolds. Nobody hates Ryan Reynolds.
I think there's a lot of people that hate Keanu Reeves.
Why do they hate Keanu? Who hates Keanu Reeves?
Why would you?
if
hate
you
Keanu
opened
Reeves?
up, if you put a sign
just
up in front of your place and said the anti Keanu Reeves fan club, no one would show up. You'd be at that meeting by yourself.
Would you be there by yourself, Ryan?
I wouldn't be there because I like Keanu Reeves.
Well, so what?
But
so what's
let's be honest. I mean, he had The Matrix and John Wick.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
two-
Bill and Ted.
and Bill and Ted. So he has three.
and then he also
Constantine.
Had, and then he
Yes,
also had
Speed.
Sweet November and A Walk
so
in the
he has
Clouds.
three
Speed 2.
He has
Thank
three,
you.
he
The
has
greatest action movie
he has
of all time.
3 profitable franchises. And you sit there with that dumb Nick Cage look
I
on your
will
face?
defend Keanu Reeves to the death.
He had The Matrix in 99 and John Wick in 2014.
Matrix
15
Reloaded.
yeah.
He made all that money.
And Matrix fans, for some odd reason, hated the third one.
They're just like Star Wars fans.
All right, I'm sorry I brought this up. Michael Rappaport.
Yeah.
Who do you trust? Do you trust me because I'm
trust?
trustworthy? Right?
Yeah.
What
Michael
a catchphrase.
Rappaport. What a great guy.
What a catchphrase. We also meet Jan and Jim, the couple, with Jim being Stellan Skarsgård, and they're kind of just regular scientist people until you see
The Anne Hesh stand-in.
the Anne Hesh. They couldn't get Anne Hesh, so they hired.
She was my least favorite
Janet.
person.
Well,
Yeah, what's her name?
Janice McKenzie.
That's
Jacqueline McKenzie.
Jacqueline
Yeah.
McKenzie.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Oops, sorry.
She has a pretty cool line when we meet her, though. The beneath the glassy surface, a world of gliding monsters, and that's kind of the only cool part she has in the entire movie. Really.
Well,
No, she has one cool part.
Well, that's a horrible way to go.
She's an hors d'oeuvre.
I mean,
Sam-
she accomplished any woman that wanted to accomplish that moment right there. That's pretty impressive.
well, she
I
shouldn't
guess
have
we'll
gotten
get
in
to
the
Did
that.
she
water.
put peanut butter down there?
I guess we'll get to that later. Right.
Sam Jackson shows up, and there's this thing they keep mentioning about the Alps, right? Like,
Find a
there's-
stranger in the Alps.
there's something that he had gone through. They're trying to build this backstory in for this character to set up this incredible moment later on.
Well, this cryptic backstory, which they never flesh out.
Right.
Just like, oh, you're the guy? Yeah, I'm the guy.
Right.
Oh, yeah, and the Himalayas. Oh, it was the Alps.
That's right.
We were just having fun. But then things went bad. And it's like, that's the end of...
That's it.
The first
Until his
conversation.
speech, you don't really find out anything else about what happened.
No.
I don't think you found out anything in his speech.
We found out a little bit that they murdered a couple people that they were with.
Right. There's
Besides that.
another point. He's like, I know 7 of us survived the avalanche, but only 5 made it out.
Right. And we swore we'd never say,
And
but
we
we
swore we'd never...
killed those bastards.
Basically, we killed them because they disagreed with our survival tactics. So we we drowned them in ice.
We also see that LL Cool J is on board. And here's my question for you guys. Is there ever been a movie, as soon as I saw him, I remember going, oh, good. Has there ever been a movie that was worse off because LL Cool J was in it?
No.
Actually, no.
No,
Is that-
absolutely
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
No.
He made Halloween
Can't think
7
of one.
better. He made Deep Blue Sea better.
His just even
And
in
he
a,
made SWAT better.
He made Mindhunters better.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Mindhunters, another
Yeah.
Rennie Harlan movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Forgot about that.
Even in a crummy movie, you're like, oh, thank God, LL Cool J. Like, at least he'll be entertaining.
Absolutely, 100%.
So he's awesome.
And this bird.
And his bird. And, he did the Will Smith treatment on this movie. Over the end credits, we were treated to deepest, bluest.
My hat is like a shark's fin.
That's right.
Yes.
By
Right.
by LL Cool J.
Yes.
God,
Yeah.
Wow, what horrible lyrics those were.
God bless that man.
Hey, but we're
miss that
not
LP.
we're not to the end of the movie yet, so we can't talk about it.
That's right. That's right.
We gotta get there.
Gotta get there. But this is the team. So they've eventually this is the and we can't miss Saffron Burrows' team, Dr. McAllister.
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
is the worst, the literal worst person in this movie.
I guess.
I mean, as a character or as an actor?
Yes.
A little bit of both.
I don't.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They were setting her up to be the hero of the film.
Right.
And they had to reshoot the ending because the audience basically was just, we don't want it.
Yeah.
We don't want it.
The callback.
That's literally what they did. They all said, no, she should die. It's everything that happens is her fault.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Test
get-
audiences said, no, kill that bitch.
Yeah, that's right. That's what happened.
Not before you put her in bra and panties.
Well, you have to because it was the 90s.
Yes.
So that's the team. And they all have this, they have a couple of scenes before we get to the meat of it. Where
and
they're
there-
like,
wait, there's
let's
Brenda.
meet each other. Oh, we can't forget about Brenda in the tower.
the radio traffic tower weatherologist.
That's right.
All jack
Tony
of all,
Soprano's
or the
crazy
Jill of
sister.
all. Yeah, yeah, the Jill of all the communications.
Butch.
Yeah. She doesn't last too long though. But,
Oh, poor Brenda.
rest in peace, Brenda.
Poor Brenda.
Right. And can I just want to say for a second, I have an unreasonable hatred for that actress. Everything she's in, I hate it.
I didn't expect you to come with a strong take about the Brenda lady.
Brenda.
I don't know, man. I just,
Is
you know,
it like
I
Jake
hated
Lloyd
her
for
in
me?
Sopranos. I hate her in everything I see her in. Just
Hey, man.
Fair enough. When you
I
cheered.
was happy when she died.
You were like, yes. He stood up off his couch.
Propeller to the face.
And Brady, who did she play in Sopranos?
Tony Soprano's crazy sister.
Oh, okay. All right.
Did you see her TikTok the other day?
She made a TikTok.
I'm guessing he hasn't seen it.
Go look up her TikTok.
No, I'm not doing the thing where I say I hate somebody, but I follow everything that they do. So no, I didn't do that.
Well, they all have some moments where, because they got to set up the interpersonal relationship. So now that they're all here, you get a little scene here of these two talking together. Oh, is Dr. McAllister and Carter a thing? No, not really. Oh, let's see. Sam Jackson's got to take his measurement of Carter and see what kind of dude he is. So they got to have their talk. And it's just the kind of tropey common way they do that in these movies.
I mean, really, it's what you can expect from a B movie, a big budget B movie exposition dump of like, well, let's just take this 15 minutes to do all of this, and then we could just get back to the sharks.
Sam Jackson's like, hey, man, you were in jail. What's up with that? He's like, look, man, I don't want to change the world like the doc or wreck it. I just want to wrangle sharks.
Right.
Man.
Like, well, because obviously he had to goad him. He was like, oh, yeah, I did some wreck diving in this kind of mask. You ever do some wreck diving before?
Yeah, you convict.
And he smiled. Yeah. Oh, the whole cat and mouse thing don't work at sea.
Yeah, I was on the prison dive team.
That might have been one hell of a dive team.
That's right.
The prison dive team at Leavenworth.
Oh,
Wow.
But
Which means he was military, too.
probably.
Leavenworth has a federal portion.
Oh, do they?
right? Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
It was actually one of the original federal Supermax facilities in America.
This is why we have you in here for your corrections expertise.
Right, that too.
Right?
Thank you for correcting me.
How long have you been in corrections?
7 years.
7 years now. Wow.
Yeah, I don't want to think about it.
All right, we won't talk about it. we do this to get away from that, right? Speaking of things they should have gotten away from, maybe, let's not have the experiment in the middle of a freaking hurricane. Can we do it tomorrow?
But they only had 48 hours.
Why?
Turn on the
Because
storm.
Monday. The shareholders.
Initiate
Yeah,
storm.
the stock price is on Monday morning. We got to do it.
Come on.
We have.
Okay, the guy with the money is standing there. You could just be like, "Hey, man, can we get a timeout for 24 hours?"
Right, honestly. Where's Sam Jackson going? Where's he going? He's not going anywhere.
Clearly, yeah.
It's a hurricane.
Right.
He can't leave. Do it in the morning when he wakes up.
So there's actually a deleted scene
Oh.
in which they touch on that slightly more.
I've had it with
Wow.
these mother sharks on this, whatever the thing is.
On this mother effing floating underwater sea lab.
thing.
If only.
Refueling station.
Yeah, this antiquated World War II refueling station retrofitted into an underwater lab.
I love that you did a deep enough dive into Deep Blue Sea that you're going to reference the deleted scenes.
It's just okay. So there's the scenes where Stellan Skarsgård and Saffron Burrows are like, oh, bringing that shark ahead of schedule is a bad idea. Well, we got to do it. 48 hours, man.
Yeah, science.
Yeah, science. And then there's a deleted scene where she says, or no, in the movie she says, "Did you dose the Gen 2 with the stuff?" And
Yeah.
he's like, "Yeah, I dosed it." So in the deleted scene, they talk about the dosing and how they only have a limited window after they dose the shark.
Oh.
And she says something like, "Oh, it's coming to the end of the dosing cycle. We only have 12 hours, and this will be our only opportunity for another 6 weeks."
Well, maybe do that and
So,
not make your characters
know.
look like idiots,
I mean,
right?
could they not make them look like idiots there?
Maybe if they not tried. Well, Carter goes out into the tunnels, and this became my favorite meme of this movie, is that in quick succession, within a minute of him getting into the tunnels, there's 3 different things. Did he just recognize that gun? That's impossible. Did he just swim backwards? That's impossible. Sharks don't swim backwards. Did they just take out the cameras? That's impossible.
Intelligence versus knowledge. I don't care how intelligent you are, unless you have the life experience or the learningness. That's a new word.
Yes.
Knowledge does not equal intelligence.
No.
So a shark that could be the most intelligent ever, being whatever, biggest brain, I'm Brad, you can't know anything unless you learn it.
I agree 100% with you, first of all. It's totally ludicrous.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was hysterical how much the actors were trying to sell. That's impossible. And I wish they'd kept it going every time the shark did anything. Whoa, like in a little bit when he jumps, he's like, oh, bad dream. Sharks don't dream? That's impossible. like every time something happened in my head, that's what I was doing. And I wish someone in the background, like Jan, would have just came in and kept saying that it's impossible.
Why is the shark gargling? That's impossible.
That's impossible. Brady, you didn't think it was plausible that the shark would know how to take out the cameras?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they look like eyes, right?
Sure.
I mean, most animals will look at them like they're like an eye of some sort.
I guess.
Right?
I guess it would. I think the shark knew that whatever that thing was, it was capturing its image and sending it to the people inside, and so it had to eat the cameras.
As a side effect, the sharks got smarter.
That's right.
And they just knew what a weapon was.
They knew what a gun was.
And they knew what a gun. Yeah, they knew. And
Okay.
oh wait, you know what? We can't ruin the twist ending just yet.
No, not
Maybe
yet.
the shark had a flashback back to World War II.
Ooh.
We don't know how old the shark
You know
is.
what? This is true. What if?
Okay.
What if?
This is a PTSD shark.
You take this film and you replace the sharks with octopuses. First off, way more plausible.
Yeah.
Second, scarier. Way scarier.
Octopuses are so scary, and I feel like no one's tapped into that.
Yes.
Peter Benchley did.
Right.
You know, Peter Benchley did, and Popeye, and that's about it.
Well, no, there's that whole movie. There's the movie The Beast with William Peterson.
Yeah.
that was written by Peter Benchley. Was
Nobody knows about that movie.
no,
though.
but it's
I've
a
got
great
it.
movie.
Octopuses that digest people.
That's impossible.
That's him. Yes.
Yeah, and this is what I mean about how it's as smart as it needs to be or as stupid as it needs to be. Because right after this, he's able to trick the shark with his tank by hooking up his tank to the wall and swimming up behind it and stabbing it or whatever, right?
You know, he shoots it with
Or shoots it with the gun.
the Carfanthanum from Jurassic Park.
Carfanthanum from Jurassic
Well, sharks
Park.
close their eyes when they attack, actually,
Sure.
to protect
Oh.
their eyes.
Oh,
So
now
they
we're
pull
going to
back
introduce
and-
real science into this movie. I don't think we're allowed to do that.
I mean, I think we need to designate who's going to be the real science guy in the room.
Mel's probably the best suited for that.
I can't wait to talk
Mo
about.
watches Shark Week.
I
every
cannot. So he's.
I
gonna
watched
tell
a
us
lot of Shark Week, but he knows
all
more.
about Mako sharks. Then
That's right. That's right.
I can't wait.
Yes.
So they bring the shark up through the bottom onto this giant platform, and it's actually a really impressive animatronic.
But before we say they,
Yeah.
let's actually just say Tom Jane apparently pushes
Yes.
this 8,000-pound shark by himself
18,000
from
pound shark.
his area of where he tranquilized it,
Right.
and he apparently pushes this not even completely
What he does
unconscious.
is he gets under it like Superman did with the space shuttle in Superman Returns, and just grabbed each fin on the side and just swam
and
up
just
with it on his back.
swam.
I think he pushed it with his hips. He's probably done this before.
That's one of the best parts of how he shoots it with the thing, and then he goes like, oh, and he takes the dramatic breath out of his little
That's right.
underwater breathing
Regulator.
thing, and then it just cuts to Michael Rappaport like, oh, he's got it on the loading dock, and it's like,
Because they couldn't explain it.
right,
They
there's
couldn't-
no
they couldn't-
explanation.
They couldn't show it or explain it in a plausible way.
No,
He,
and then it just cuts to the loading dock rising to the wet lab.
He used to be on the swim team, and he
Yes.
dated a lot of fat chicks back in high school.
And that's why he just spent the entire procedure caressing it. Like, why do you have to stay on the platform, buddy? Like, is this helping you going, okay, shark. It's okay, shark.
He couldn't walk away. People would see.
Yeah.
By the way, while we're talking about things, this show is trash@gmail.com if you have any complaints about anything that's been said
That's right.
thus far.
Please. They get the shark up and they jam this giant needle into its brain.
Wasn't just the shark.
And Thomas Jane chooses that moment to pour a bucket of water over the top of the thing, almost ruin the entire experiment.
He likes them wet.
Perfect timing.
Perfect
Right.
timing.
As Saffron is sticking the needle into the brain in this completely, obviously sanitary environment.
That's right. Super.
You just,
It's a very sexual scene.
yes. Yeah. But then the cutaway is to he's
In
just
what
like,
way?
oh, he doesn't
Yeah.
have the bucket in his hand anymore,
Right.
and he touches the shark. He's like, oh,
You couldn't
Yeah.
see his other hand either.
But Stellan Skarsgård gets a little too close.
well,
Jim.
hold on. We forgot about the actual experiment.
What's that? Oh, well, that's when they put the stuff in the stuff.
I mean, you know, like
And, yeah.
here's like the quintessential worst film experiment of all time, almost.
Okay.
We're gonna spray some shark juice that we stole out of this brain onto some cells.
Yeah, let's just take this. Oh, we got this dead brain tissue here. Let's just put that on the microscope. Now we're just going to take our shark oil here, put it on there, and oh my God, 6 seconds later, we cured Alzheimer's.
It's thinking.
It's either a battery or it doesn't have Alzheimer's anymore.
It's the Alzheimer's rodeo. 6 seconds.
That's right. And,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Stellan,
That's 8 seconds. My bad. That
What
joke
were we
sucks.
talking about again?
Stellan Skarsgård is pumped about. He's pretty pumped and very like, I don't know. Seems like almost angry and happy at the same time.
It's because it's Stellan Skarsgård. Like,
No, I know.
and here's quotable line number 3 from him.
What's that?
Where, you know, they do the thing and Samuel L. Jackson's like, oh, I'll be damned.
Yeah.
And he says, no, sir. In 6.560 seconds, you saw what it was like to not be damned.
It's so
Dumbest line. Of
it's so ham-fisted, right? It's so like,
line.
here's your head. Let me just go dunk and just hit you.
He was not very
Square
good at
peg,
this
round
movie.
hole.
Because he's got 3 of them. Because he's got
A trash can full of
That one?
dirt belongs to him and his
absolutely not.
No.
He's got that one. He's got the one you mentioned earlier when it's like, what in God's creation?
Now let's talk about the shark
No.
eats his arm.
All right,
out.
so
He
yeah,
actually
so-
gains 20 pounds on his side because they had to put the prosthetic arm on him. That
Yeah.
was very
Caught that
poorly
on.
done. Hey, he got liposuction. Oh, he got bloated. He got really bad.
You got
bloated.
really apparently getting your arm bitten off makes
He
you
got
bloated.
bloated really quick. 'cause
Super
it's-
wide torso. He's got like his arm in his belt.
He's got
Like
an arm in his belt, and then it's just another 4
Yeah.
feet of just like, oh, here's the prosthetic arm.
but I thought that was actually a pretty well done sequence of him getting
The
his
shark
arm.
bite was really well
Because
done.
not all of the attacks were great.
But they should have just stopped after that. Like,
I don't think it was
stop
real.
showing me more of his.
Right, but that particular attack, like you said, pretty good.
Yeah.
And they did that with the animatronic, and Stellan did his own stunts.
Yeah,
So
Crawling on the floor.
that was good.
no, the actual arm getting bitten off.
Yeah, but here's the thing
That's a stunt.
this turns into a hilarious.
Yes, when an 8,000-pound animatronic shark is lunging toward you, it's considered a stunt.
Yeah, in fact, they talked about. I was reading up on the movie about how dangerous that thing was, and it almost brought down the set because they didn't have it secured properly, and the thing was dangerous.
So they didn't know what they were doing. It sounds like a Rick Foster movie.
An unintentionally hilarious thing occurs here after they try to get him. Now, again, this is the middle of a hurricane. And so this helicopter flies in through the hurricane. They get him outside on the stretcher, Jim, missing an arm.
Why?
And they
Okay,
hook him up.
Why would you do that in the middle of a hurricane?
And they hook him up to the winch, right?
Complete, just nobody like asked any questions about anything.
Right.
for
No one
that.
said anything. I was like,
First of all-
let's drop a cable.
We're going to use an ambulance cot. That is an ambulance stretcher from Stryker, okay?
I was gonna say-
Those go in and out of ambulances.
Yes.
Why would you then strap that to a helicopter?
I don't know.
And why
They would use a Stokes basket.
Yeah, I was going to
That's
say
actually
they
called.
should have had a lift basket, right?
They would have dropped that down to him and thrown him on there.
Yeah.
But number 2, they wouldn't have flown in this. That's
They were the
But if they-
dumbest helicopter pilots.
So
of all
here's
time.
But if they did that, they couldn't go fishing with him.
right.
yeah, but here's the little answer. Here's the little answer to your question. It wasn't technically a medical helicopter.
No.
No, it wasn't the Coast Guard or anything like that.
They were still dumb.
There's
No idea who he even was.
That's what. No, there's a little line of dialogue to Brenda where it's like, "This is blah 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 Chiapa." It was basically an oil rig. It was an oil rig transport crew
Oh.
that had
Oh,
heard
no.
their SOS signal and went to help.
Of course,
So they
they
would
heard
have had a
the SOS
basket then.
signal.
It wouldn't even been a Stokes basket. They would have had a sitting basket.
Yeah, right.
Lower workers.
And his girlfriend was so okay with it. You're gonna be fine. It's okay. It's just a
You know-
50-foot waves and wind.
know,
and
the
my hair's beautiful.
It's just a 150
I can't
pound
get back
ambulance
in.
cot.
And of
All
course, Tom Jane magically gets caught outside and manages to crawl. Oh, he just crawls back in.
Hey, that was also a mess up on the technical crew side.
Yes.
Which I'm sure James will talk about.
Yeah, they almost killed all the actors there. Sam Jackson talked about it after how mad they all were, but the water was not supposed to hit them. They get hit with about 3 tons of water. If you remember, they all go sliding into those boxes and no safety harnesses, nothing, and they all thought they were going in the drink, and they didn't. They ran into that other thing, but that was totally
Well, if you're a foreign film director, you don't care about anything.
So someone
it was bad.
accidentally hit them with the the
3
ton water cannon, which was not supposed to go off at that point or something like that.
But of course, they kept it in the movie.
Yeah, and they kept acting because they were troopers.
That's right. But they get him, just so I can paint the picture for the audience at home. The stretcher is now hanging on a cable
or yarn
below the helicopter, and whatever reason the winch fails, and the
winch failed.
Yes,
malfunctioned.
It malfunctioned.
It malfunctioned.
You believe it in a horror movie. It falls into the water.
Winch that's maintained to go against the storm on an oil rig.
Yes.
Managed to get water on it and malfunctioned.
The winch
dropped.
Yeah.
An oversized white guy into the depths.
So now it's literally like the chopper is fishing with the body with Jim, and of course
there's a shark in there.
The shark grabs him and tows the entire helicopter
Jaws 3
into
They Jaws 3'd it. They Jaws 3'd
and
it.
crashes it into Brenda in the radio tower in the facility and lights the entire thing on fire.
And
Brenda deserved it.
And then the debris from the first explosion lands on the gas tanks, which causes a subsequent explosion. Which
And then they take Jim and chuck him into the window.
Are we to that point yet?
Yes.
That's kind of what happened. Yeah, because first they just all like, "Whoa, what happened?" There's some kind of explosion.
Should we just let that simmer though? Just the the overkill of this. How, like you said, it's like, well, everything just lines up so perfectly where it's like, okay, so now this winch, which has this titanium cable, can just tear this entire deck apart to bring the chopper into the radio tower.
It can't sustain a white guy on a.
No, exactly.
So you can that cable rip through the walkways like it was?
No.
I didn't think so.
You see Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Because it was cutting through those walkways.
That was some dude's ATV cable.
Right.
Oh god.
Look, here's what I want to say, guys.
Which managed to explode the entire radio tower and then blows up the fuel tanks and the gas tanks. And,
if we're looking at
all right, well, that just happened.
We're already at 50 minutes and we're not even halfway through this movie.
That's awesome.
I love that we're all excited about it, but we can't spend 20 minutes on every scene. Okay.
But that was an important one.
Yes, it was. It was. I'm just gonna. This isn't gonna make it in. I'm communicating this with all of you guys. So, I'm not saying clam up. I'm just saying keep in mind our timing. That's all.
Quick, jump to Sam Jackson.
What's that?
Jump to the Sam Jackson scene.
No, I can't. Not yet.
Why?
Yes.
What happens in that between that and that?
Here's what I want to say. As I was watching this, I was sitting there and I started clapping in front of my TV, and I thought, you know what? If we're looking at this from a game standpoint, hell of a game plan. Hell of a game plan by the Sharks.
Absolutely.
Were you eating paint chips at the time?
Hell of a game. I mean, imagine this. That shark was so smart. It knew to only bite Stellan's arm off because they would have to call a chopper. Okay. And then when the chopper came, they'd be able to throw the chopper into the facility and crash and sink the entire place.
But how did the shark know the winch was going to fail?
The shark was going to leap. I mean, he wasn't dangling that far off the water. It was going to just jump up and grab him.
Guy at the oil crew, right?
That's right.
Right.
He wire transferred him some money.
The shark knew that it was going to be a
Sharks don't know how to bank.
Helicopter.
Sharks can't wire money. That's impossible.
Because no one is half the battle.
This is why Bitcoin needs to end.
I think it's pretty impressive that he knew to only take his arm. And that would lead to a chain of events that
sounds like a Christopher Nolan
caused them
movie.
to escape.
I think it's pretty impressive that the shark knew that he needed to save the gurney to throw at the window of the wet lab, which is allegedly
how did that crack this window at a wet lab.
Why did they all stand there and stare and watch it crack until the very last second?
Well, Sam Jackson just said, "We got to go."
Yeah.
You seem like you had
I
something
don't
to
really
say.
have anything. I'm just.
Oh.
What's up?
I thought you had something to say. I'm sorry.
So basically,
No, I just did. Well, actually, I did have something to say. The shark saved him, right, to show them we're smarter than you.
Right.
Oh, it was a taunt. Okay, I get it
Right,
now.
they're taunting them. Yeah,
I get it now.
Nice.
It's even a better movie now.
It has some cool visuals.
Here's the thing. The shark, there were some good visuals.
Like the visuals of him in the shark's mouth.
Yeah, that was cool. But there's also, as good as some of the shots were, there were some that were equally horrible.
Absolutely.
Like when they started the IV backwards in the elevator.
Yeah,
We don't talk about that.
Or like, when the doctor's like, "Oh, he's hemorrhaging." Like, yeah, he got his arm bitten off.
These are doctors, right? Let's lay a blanket on it. Let's not do a tourniquet. Let's just put a blanket on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so essentially the rest of the movie is them kind of fighting their way through this maze of a facility, trying to figure out where is it flooded, where is it not flooded, so we can get down. The shark is smashing through bulkheads and doors, and Sam Jackson, again, all the movie, can it do that? That's impossible.
But the shark made its way to the wrong man. It made its way into the kitchen.
Yes.
And ate LL Cool J's
And
bird.
Let's talk about the kitchen scene.
It's the best. One of the LL Cool J saves this movie.
LL Cool J doesn't know what's going on until he tries to go up the stairs, and the stairs, water just comes in and washes him right back.
Down.
So now, like, the kitchen is at like chest high water, and the shark swims into the kitchen.
Big mistake.
I'll tell you what, man.
You don't swim into another man's kitchen.
Not with LL Cool J.
No, you don't.
My wife laughed when he picked up a frying pan, right? And she started laughing like, yeah, I'm like, I'll tell you what, I'll take LL Cool J in the frying pan
Over
straight up.
anybody else that's in this movie. I'm
Let's
sticking
go.
with LL Cool J.
He take care of business.
He did.
And guess what?
Guess what? He did.
That's exactly what happened.
Because the shark ate his bird.
That's right.
What if Steven Seagal was the cook?
Oh my gosh. Oh, he just would have stood his ground. The shark would have came at him, and he would have
He never would have gotten in touch.
just a
He chopped him in the face.
Gosh, you know what? What a missed opportunity. I guess this should have been Under Siege 3.
No, it'd been a terrible opportunity.
Deep Blue Siege. Deep Blue
Deep
Siege.
Blue Siege.
And let's take note that LL Cool J never called his mother.
Nope.
He just knew that to knock him out.
That's right.
He turns the gas on. He gets
That was like a joke grenade. I got it after like half a second when I was supposed to.
He gets stuck in his own oven
thank
to
you.
protect himself from the shark. And then he gets an axe and he starts hammering the upper half of the stove.
Yes.
Jumps out, the shark manages to be like, I want to cook something. I'm going to cook myself a black man. Not happening.
How about
axes his way out? The gas is going, dives out, swims. Shark still an idiot.
Shark
Apparently.
doesn't
Now
know.
it's an idiot. Apparently, shark lost everything.
now it's an idiot? You see
Now
what I'm
it's an
saying?
idiot. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
smart. It's dumb. It's smart. It's
Turns
dumb.
around, lights the Zippo lighter. You ate my bird.
You can't argue with that.
Just whips it.
That-
Shark pops up out of the water, lighter in the mouth, blows up the shark.
That's right. I don't understand how it explodes, but yeah.
For all the stupidity.
There's also the fact that the shark can get through all these bulkheads, but like you throw like a small metal shelving unit in front of it, and
Brady, it had trouble breaking through a glass oven door.
Well, first of
Right.
all, should we comment on how the glass oven door is more strong than the wet lab?
That's what I'm saying.
That's,
So
what's the brand of-
wet lab can just break like that, but the
100 feet
oven
underwater,
door
too.
Yes.
What's that?
100 feet underwater,
Right.
too. I mean, we're talking thick glass.
Sure.
Yes.
The hydrostatic pressure on that wet lab versus
Right.
the oven door.
That's a good
is
oven
just
door.
yeah, it's a great oven door. We got to buy those ovens.
Well, after LL blows up the shark, we catch up with our other heroes in quotations.
They're not heroes, they're idiots.
They've decided they need to go down to go up. They're going to go down to the lower level to get the sub.
That was literally the line too.
Yeah, we'll go down to go up.
Got to go down to go up.
And they get there and the sub is trashed. And so they're like, "Oh, should we swim? Should we swim for it?" No, man. No, I'm not swimming. I'm gonna get in the water with that shark, man. It was like the Bill Paxton moment from Aliens, right?
Yes,
Says
Aliens.
Sure. Yeah.
And
and the
Sam
girl-
Jackson says, quit your whining. I got a speech.
Yeah. As the girls are getting undressed and dressed in the corner, like this is a
This
good time to give a
was
speech.
this is right at there was the more exposition with the whole
Yeah.
the shark. We
cheated.
violated,
Yeah, all
we
that.
violated the Harvard Genetics Compact.
You knocked us to the bottom of the food chain.
And then the great Michael Rappaport with the she's screwing with the sharks, now the shark's screwing with us.
That's right. That's right.
the shark's screwing with us now, man.
I can't believe I overlooked the plot of this movie.
Right. We were so excited to keep going, we forgot about the plot.
Sam Jackson says it's speech time, and the reason this is so brilliant is because it's kind of the same way in the original Alien when they killed off the captain
Tom
Skerritt, who at the time was the biggest star in that cast. Okay, and so it really made the audience feel like, oh crap, these guys are screwed, because that was like the person that's there comforting you, going, it's going to be okay as long as he's here. And so he kind of does the same thing with Sam Jackson. Everyone's like, oh, but Sam Jackson's not going to get killed.
No.
Of course not.
And he gets
not in the middle of the movie.
No.
It's like an hour.
Maybe at the end.
Hour. It's like probably like an
It's
hour
right around
flat.
at the hour mark. Yeah.
He gets literally just chomped into
Mid speech. He's
by a PlayStation 2 graphic shark.
He's probably about 1 or 2 sentences away from I'm tired of these MF and sharks in this MF and research center. But before he can even get it out, the sharks, because they're smart, are down there going, oh my gosh, he's getting them all riled up. We got to take him out before he gets everybody,
Gets everybody going. And get, right now they're scared. So we got to get him. I got him. Don't worry.
They ran out of their Sam Jackson fund.
Yeah.
Right.
Pretty much.
They can only afford him for an hour of the movie.
His membership at the golf club there lapsed, so he had to.
I do remember that. I mean, in a dumb movie, that was a brilliant decision.
Absolutely.
I want to give it its. I want to give it its
Out of nowhere,
props.
when we watched it the first time, we're like, what?
No one and spoilers, but if you're listening to us talk about it, I assume you've seen the movie.
What
But
did
yes.
Sam Jackson?
Or aren't ever going to.
Right.
up?
What did Sam Jackson ever think of the movie? I was always
He wanted to be in it because he had never done a monster movie, right? So he talked about this. He said he grew up and he used to.
Park.
Oh, yeah.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
He said he used to play games when he was a kid where they were running from monsters and Frankenstein or Dracula or whatever. And so he wanted to be in a movie where he got to shout things like, no, over here, oh, it's coming, and run. And like he just never got to do that.
So it was a childhood dream thing.
Yeah, it was more of
that's
him
cool.
fulfilling
I respect that.
Yeah.
Running from a shark
And
through
he also said he really liked working with Rennie Harlan, obviously, on Long Kiss Goodnight. So
Yes.
he was
Right.
game. He was down.
true. Although his character in that movie was way better. I don't know if it was either brilliant acting in this movie on Sam's part or a terrible script that you completed the impossible task of making him seem uncool. But that's pretty much what happened in this movie.
So you know that he was originally supposed to play the cook or the chef.
gosh.
So yes, he was
that what you were
supposed to
gonna say?
play. Was it?
No, go.
Oh, sorry. I took your trivia.
You're good.
Very happy.
I'm just so disappointed that
Sam Jackson was supposed to play LL Cool J's character, and then Rennie Harlan demanded that they create the character of Russell Franklin for Sam Jackson to play, and then LL Cool J came aboard to also prove at the time that he was a serious actor, not just a hip-hop star
gotcha.
artist. Yeah.
You know, I'm very happy LL Cool J played the cook.
Oh, me too.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, Bell.
But after Sam Jackson gets eaten and killed, they said, well, we got to go up this maintenance shaft. But what's going to happen if they open the door and the shaft has been breached, right? Science works here.
science.
The water that's underneath is
legit.
going to shoot up. What'd you say?
This is legit.
This is
yeah.
legit, right?
Yeah.
So they open the maintenance shaft, and of course, it is breached because of the explosion. So the water just starts to just gush into the room straight up. It's pretty awesome. And they got to get into the maintenance. I mean, the whole movie is basically them running from water and slamming doors behind themselves. And I thought that actually was the scarier part of the movie. The prospects of drowning and being crushed and the facility falling apart. That was the scarier monster that they were running from than the actual sharks, at least to me. That filled me with more dread as I'm watching it. When they're talking about what happens when 3,200 tons of water or whatever get into this facility,
when he's
right?
talking to Skuggs, like, I'm just staying right here. And he's like, Skuggs, tell me what happens.
Yeah,
he's like,
science.
Oh, the walls buckle. And
Yeah.
do you want to be around for that?
Yeah, that
No, I don't.
that got me
No,
more
I
scared.
don't.
That's a fear I have though of like enclosed spaces and all of that.
Just
So
everything buckling and collapsing
yeah,
around you.
I was like, that's no good. But the shark knows they use the maintenance shaft.
Oh.
Because they have that POV shot where it comes in through the bottom and it turns immediately to the door, the maintenance shaft.
And it starts just banging on the door.
Goosh, goosh. And because they're smart until they're dumb, and then they're not smart anymore.
And
So
they
they
can also fit through bulkhead doors,
Oh,
apparently.
yeah.
You know,
they
which are-
squeeze. They suck it in.
Yeah.
They can blast through these bulkhead doors, but somehow they can't get through titanium fencing.
No, but it gives. There's give to it. That's how they explain that away.
Yes, it's a right. It's a titanium net, is what he describes
That's
it
right.
as.
There's
Yeah.
give, Jay.
There's
Come on,
give
a
to it.
give.
Yeah, you know.
So Jan dies via crotch bite. in
Peanut butter.
Shouldn't
In
have gotten
the
the water
maintenance.
that time of the day.
I was gonna say it must have been that time of the month.
Oh, you guys.
Yes, she was definitely menstruating.
but, you know, she was a trooper.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
The actress was a trooper
She was.
She was
because the
terrible.
behind the scenes of that
This
actress.
show is trash at gmail.com.
Don't worry, it won't actually be in there.
It was very cool to see the animatronic, the behind the scenes. You see like the animatronic and how all the actors got comfortable with it and acted their own death scenes.
Yes.
So the actress, what was her name? Janet McKenzie.
Jacqueline McKenzie.
Jacqueline McKenzie.
Jacqueline McKenzie was crotch bitten in this animatronic being lifted in and out of the water. And she's like, okay, guys, you want to do another one real quick? And they did like 12 takes of it.
Amazing.
And she's just like, yeah, let's do another one. All right, let's go.
What a way to go.
Still a crappy actress.
But a delightful person, it seems like.
But a trooper.
A trooper, nonetheless.
Jacqueline, if you're listening,
That's right.
You suck.
She probably got an alert anytime when he talks about this movie.
no.
She's going to
Hey,
listen to this.
Brady, you didn't like the helicopter butched lady, so.
Hey, man, I'm sure she's a nice lady.
No, yeah, I'm sure they're both nice
there's
women.
no reason for me to hate her.
No, yeah, they're both nice women. They just suck at their job. So, I mean.
All right, so LL Cool J comes out of the first floor into the maintenance shaft and rescues them, essentially. And they all are finally, all of the survivors that are left anyway.
Yes,
Which
with a
time?
bunch of bed sheets.
Right.
which time? Because
This
he does it like 2 or 3 times in the same exact spot.
This is when they're in the maintenance shaft on the ladder that's going across.
Okay.
And he opens the door and he's like, "What's up, guys?"
Yeah, right after.
he
So
does
right
it
after
again.
Janet gets eaten, you know,
Yes.
the water. After Janet gets eaten, the shark goes away, and the water miraculously stops filling the room.
That's right.
Just in time for Preacher to
Exactly.
open up the door and go like, "Oh," and then also have enough time to tie a bunch of bed sheets together to hoist them out. But you know,
Right. And Scoggins, Rappaport is like, they all get together, they put their heads together, but he's the got the science noodle. And he's like, I'll tell you what, guys, if we, I don't know.
We drain.
Literally, this is how it sounded to me. It's like, if we like bleep, bleep, bloop, bloop on a science machine underwater, then we'll drain one of the
If we
stairways.
flick a couple of switches,
Basically.
one of the stairways will drain,
Basically.
and we'll be able to get to it. And then it's only 60 feet from there to the surface.
Right. Right.
You're gonna hook up the cables together underwater to connect the electricity.
That's right.
yes,
But
Beautiful plan.
all of these machines and electrical gear that works great underwater.
That's right.
Only
And then
Michael Rapport can turn those on.
then they have time to, of course, they have time to hold their breath underwater for 12 minutes, like in all of these movies when they can all just stay underwater forever and see perfectly clear and all that other stuff. It's like,
Yes.
hate that so much.
Yeah,
But-
it's salt water, and they're looking at it like,
Of course he gets down. That's what I'm saying. He gets down there. They got their eyes wide open in salt water. Doesn't matter.
I
'Cause
got my
he's a
eyes in
shark
salt water. I'm
wrangler.
immediately like trying to grab. I can see.
I want to say here, because he gets eaten, Scoggin gets eaten in the worst way. They did Michael Rappaport dirty in this movie.
He's a New Yorker.
Good.
Yeah.
They should not have done. That guy was so scared of getting in the water and getting eaten by a shark that for them to have that actually happen to him like that was wrong.
I didn't have a problem.
I
with it.
actually blinked
It was
and I
very
missed the
It's
death
very
scene.
fast death scene.
Like, it's that short.
It's short.
And
they just
I was
left with
gonna
like a
stop
twitchy
it
leg.
and replay
Yeah,
it, but
yeah.
then I was just like,
yeah.
the whole point that it was that short was it doesn't matter.
Right. But then a hilarious thing happens right after that when it lets Thomas Jane go.
Yeah,
right.
Doesn't
right.
pursue
Right.
that guy.
Once again,
It swims right up to him and like stops at the last second because he knows
it misses him.
it knows he's gonna keep flooding the facility
Oh,
by going into the maintenance shaft.
Right.
And because we find out later, he says, "Oh my gosh, they've been hurting us. They've been
Oh, you
using
spoiled
us.
the twist.
They've been using us.
We're not to the
They've been
twist
using
yet.
us
We're getting to the twist right now.
because that's what
aliens.
Well, hold on.
That's what 18,000
There's more to happen.
thinks
But
about.
but at the time, I didn't make any. The reason I'm bringing that up now is that it didn't make any sense at the time because I'm like, why would the shark just swim up to him, go and then just keep going? Right? That doesn't make any sense at all.
Maybe he was too far into the bulkhead door where it just couldn't,
Right? Because we've seen
Yeah.
that they care about such things in this movie. So far.
It just missed him.
Lets Carter go because they floods the complex. Then I don't want to forget about this before we get to the final battle, but Dr. McAllister during all this is followed by another shark into her room.
Where she has to go get her 3.5-inch floppy disk with all the research on it.
Yeah,
That's right.
or else everyone's death was for nothing.
How much does a floppy disk even hold? That's not a lot of research. It's like 3 PDFs.
Well, yeah. There was a couple floppy disks.
1.44 megabytes.
This is like a sneaky ninja shark, okay? Like the thing like sneaks up on her and just fin straight out of the like you're not in that deep enough of water where you should be able to come up out of it and have your fin up out of it, right?
Right, because it's only at like waistline level for her.
That's what I'm saying.
So what
It's a super flat shark. It can flatten itself out like and hide.
well, if it was
under
a
the water.
real Mako, it probably could. But,
Probably could.
it's also the genetically enhanced Mako, which is sometimes big when it needs to be big and then, you know.
What'd you think of her kill scene where she decides, first of all, she stands on the table like a mouse is loose in her room or something like that, right? She's like, oh my goodness. And then
She does the worser version of a classic.
yeah,
Rips off Jaws 2.
yeah. So we blew up one shark. Now we got to electrocute one because this is what we're doing. We're ripping off Jaws.
Well, it's an homage.
Okay, sure, whatever.
She ripped. First, I got to get into my bra and panties and stand in my wetsuit.
That's right.
On top of a wooden
standing
desk.
on the wetsuit on top of a wooden desk.
Because I'm afraid that the wood will electrocute me.
No.
Mel just like,
Well, all right, so we'll defer to the science guy in the
She's
room.
shocked.
she's definitely shocked. There's just water everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
And the wetsuit's wet.
Yes.
And her feet are wet. And the desk is wet.
Yes.
Her hands are wet. The cable's wet. The shark's wet.
But the wetsuit doesn't conduct electricity.
But thankfully, we wouldn't have to. We wouldn't have to wait long.
That's why she had to take it off and get into her bra and panties.
It was her best option.
for everybody.
Then she manages
That's
to
how we're going to
rip
explain that away.
That's right. Okay, for sure.
electrical conduit off the
We can move
wall
on.
out of a power box. What was that, Brady?
Like it's well,
We're
she's
gonna
very
explain it away so we
strong.
can move on. Yeah.
We essentially get
She
to the
is a
point.
very strong lady.
The funny thing is
super
after all of that, the final plan is just to make a swim for it anyway, right? I mean, they're back to Plan B, which was after the sub was Plan A. Plan B was swim for it.
But they significantly decreased the distance.
Yes, because now they're on the first level
Instead
as
of
opposed to the
so
third.
they
the
have 60
200
feet.
and because in the
Right.
lagoon wet whatever area, he's like, oh, it's 230 feet to the surface, and now they've gotten down to 60 feet.
But here's another example of the sharks reverting back to being idiots when they can tell the difference between a gun and a camera, but they can't tell a fire extinguisher from a human swimming to the surface.
We forgot the greatest pep talk from LL Cool J.
Oh, the prayer?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't think that was actually out of the Bible. I think that was the gospel
wasn't.
according to LL Cool J.
Gospel according to LL
Gospel
Cool
of LL
J.
Cool J.
Yes.
I carry
Yeah.
a big stink.
That's right, and he's
Big
the meanest mother in the valley.
He's the meanest mother in the valley.
2 sharks down, 1 demon fish to go.
That's
Can
right.
I get an amen?
I was
Lord?
hoping he would just start rapping at that point, like just go and just start like getting into it.
And then just
But-
deepest, bluest. My head is like a shark's fin.
That's right.
Deepest.
Why not just work it straight into the movie?
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, because the sharks went back to being stupid, they ate the fire extinguishers instead of the people, and the 3 of them at least they break the surface of the water. They get up to the top before LL Cool J is grabbed by one of the sharks. Well, not one of. There's only one left. The shark.
The
And-
Gen 2.
The Gen 2.
The
and
Gen 2.
dragged around.
Yeah.
But he takes his cross and stabs the shark straight in the eyeball with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm sitting there going, after that prayer, and I'm like, I think Jesus might be the hero of this movie.
Right. Yeah.
Wait, is this movie awesome?
Lord, take the shark. Just see Jesus just swim up and punch the shark.
The shark's like, all right, clearly I want nothing to do with LL Cool J.
No.
Lets him go. All right. Like, had I known it was you, I thought you were a fire extinguisher. It's the only reason I ate you. Okay. And they patch him up. Now they know how to use tourniquets and things like that. And the doctor patches him up and he's asleep. He falls asleep.
During the midst of all this.
Here's the important thing. He falls asleep during the plan to build the bomb and shoot the harpoon gun and hook it up to the boat battery.
Yeah.
But then when he wakes up, LL Cool J is so smart, much smarter than a smart shark. He figures the plan out on his own.
We kind of
Yes.
yelled it too.
Yeah.
No, he already had picked up the thing and was
There's
standing
that
there
classic
before he even
dramatic
yelled it.
moment. You just see the arm come up.
Right. The guy that has no knowledge of the plan. That's
right.
Who just wakes up and is like, all right, well, I'm going to pick up this harpoon gun and shoot the shark and put it up on the car battery
That's
and I'll
right.
be good.
That's right.
I'll do it all myself.
Not
Fine.
before
Because-
Burroughs sacrifices herself. and
Right.
then
Well, the
realizes-
twist before that, as Ryan said, we kind of alluded to, is that it's really just trying to escape.
So, yeah. So
Right.
the biggest when, Sam Jackson's, what does a 12,000-pound mako shark with the brain the size of a flathead V8 engine think about?
Right.
And then Tom Jane with his son of a bitch thinks about freedom,
That's right.
thinks about the
Deep blue sea.
blue sea. He said it. He said it.
He said the thing.
And then Saffron's like, we have to kill her.
That's the first real smart
Right.
thing you
That's
said
the real
all
smart
day.
Shark's like, I don't want to eat you people anymore. I'm hitting this fence, this chain link fence that I can't get through.
Right. I have herded you to flood this entire
Because
facility
the
so
kids-
the fence sinks down just far enough so I can break through the steel portion instead of the titanium portion. Wow. Genius plan.
But speaking of which, all those titanium nets and fences and stuff, but did you notice that the entire facility, every ladder was like ordered off of Wish.com?
Yeah.
Well, when they realize they can't, it's too far away to get, she jumps in, she's like, bait, and she cuts her hand, and everyone in the audience cheers when she jumps in. Yes. But then she ends up freaking out and trying to swim away. Like, what do you think was going to happen?
Yeah, I think there were better ways she could have gone about doing that.
Right?
I mean, to be fair, she does try to get back out of the water, but then the ladder breaks.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
So I guess it wasn't her intention to kill herself. It was just,
And then Thomas Jane now is trying to climb up the same spot where she couldn't get up.
Yes, but he's taller because he's a man, so he can reach.
But he's also able
got
to
bigger
activate
arms.
his shark wrangling powers and does the move that they foreshadowed in the beginning.
Oh, yeah,
God.
right.
Right?
The tuck
the
and
fin.
roll. Let me ride your fin move.
Tuck and roll. And the fact that LL pins his leg to the dorsal fin with the harpoon gun. I'm like, bro, that sucks for you. And after all this, you just get nailed to the shark, literally.
Literally.
The bit of comic relief that the movie needed.
That's right. Shoots Carter, who I'm assuming his leg is torn in half when he tries to swim through the fence, right? But apparently not.
No, it yanks.
just looked
it
fine.
yanks
No,
it
it looks pretty bad. Like, he hits that fence and then gets basically, the harpoon needs to get torn out of his
Right.
leg.
But he appears to
And
be
he's just
fine afterwards.
He's
yeah.
just fine.
Conveniently, the fence takes care of it.
Yeah.
And then boom, now do you think, Mel, that would work, pouring the stuff out of a flare gun into a harpoon like that and blowing it up with a battery?
Number one, no.
Okay.
Number two, no. Number three, the explosion that they had there, he's dead from the shockwave.
Oh, because of his lungs.
Yeah,
he's
he's
underwater.
dead. He's dead.
We talked about that with the grenade going off underwater.
Poppy.
Lungs would pop from
Yeah.
the shockwave. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. 100%. You're more of a chance of surviving a grenade in the open air than you do underwater.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So it ends up that the only two, he blows up. Carter swims around in a big pool of blood. 47 more sharks show up and they eat him. The end of the movie.
If only.
No, we end up with just Thomas Jane and LL Cool J.
Well, he
As
thinks
the-
he's dead, and then Carter, bring
as
me
the
some
survivor.
sushi.
Carter, bring me some sushi.
Well, boys, before we get to the awards, as we always do, if you've got anything on your note sheet or anything that you had wanted to touch on, sometimes when we rewatch movies, we notice the little things. Or there's some little things, lines of dialogue, things you noticed, anything you want to just touch on quickly before we wrap up on Deep Blue Sea here.
How they were able to close doors with water pressure against them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because
Right.
it's like, I'll tell you, a river and moving water will throw a car around like it's nothing.
Right.
So 3 dudes and, discount.
Well, the first one I give him because Samuel L. Jackson was there.
Okay.
Okay, but
We'll give him that.
The maintenance shaft, it was just him and Michael Rappaport.
Isn't that one of those things, though, where it's like they wait for the water pressure to equalize, and that's why they got to wait till they're totally underwater to then.
Well,
push
that's
the
at the
boat.
end.
Yeah.
That's at the end to get out when they wait for that room to fill up.
But they do that in the elevator.
But there's a
shaft,
bunch
too.
of times where there's just water hitting
Yeah.
the door and they're able to close it.
Yeah.
Push and twist like it's nothing.
Yeah. No, I agree. Anything else?
The scene when, Tom Jane falls like 3 different times in a matter of 4 minutes. And it's like the wet lab breaks open and he's running for the staircase and then he falls. And they're like,
right.
Carter! And then they get through the door and he falls through the door to get through the
right.
door. And then the other door's bursting open. They're like, we got to get past that door as
right.
the rivets are busting across
Popping.
the hallway. And then he slips again in the hallway.
He does.
Yeah.
This is your shark wrangler, lady. He's not on solid ground. He's no good.
Yeah.
Right.
He's not good.
You get him in the water and
him in the
watch him
water.
dance.
And apparently he's immune to the hide of a shark, which is also just as razor as their teeth.
He likes to rub it, man. He was
Hold it
on
on
there.
way,
Remember,
though.
he was
Rub
rubbing the
sharks.
shark. He's like, it's all right.
Rides it with his bare chest. And just
I was surprised he didn't rip his wetsuit open and just lay his chest on the shark while it was there. That
But
was
it's okay.
the next step, I think.
but it's okay.
Anything for you?
Why jump into the science now?
That's right.
Why jump into actual marine
Do we
biology?
know why he got convicted, by the way?
I don't know. Actually.
He was a smuggler. That's all they said.
He was
Smuggler.
smuggling sharks.
Animal abuse? Or?
Bob, anything for you? He pulled a Jack Burton in the movie. Did you see that?
He did.
When he's trying to get it through that door and he pulled a knife out of his
Yeah,
boot.
he did the freaking knife
And I was
thing.
like, oh, Jack Burton.
Hold on. Flexing. Flexing, open the door. Oh, we got this. Oh, we got this. I opened the door.
That room is flooded too. I'm like, why are we trying to open this flooded room? To get more water in here? Got to get some more water in the shaft.
Oh, it was for the runoff.
All right.
They explained that. That was so that instead of all the water coming up that shaft, some of it would go into what was left of the
Yeah, it would run off
second
into
floor.
level 2.
Oh my gosh.
Doesn't
completely
make sense
flood level
because it
2.
just makes shit sink faster.
I can't believe
So,
I called out the one thing they actually explained in the movie.
Oh no, they tried to explain everything. That was the little thing. So after watching this movie, I mean, now I've seen it about 7 times in my life.
Yeah.
You know, once in the 90s, in the 2000s, and I've watched it twice this week actually. just for this.
I love that. I love that you went all in on Deep Blue Sea.
Oh my god, I love it though. That's the
All
thing.
right. It's
so
time.
dumb.
It's time to give this movie some awards because nobody else certainly did when this came out. So we'll be the first to give out some awards. So the first award that we give out is to any actor. For those of you who weren't with us when we did Iron Eagle, we changed the rule of Will Patton to include just the Will Patton Award for intensity. Just who was the most overly intense, even not necessarily required to be intense, Will Patton Award winner in this movie. Because as you know, anyone that's seen a Will Patton movie, it doesn't matter if he's playing like the manager of a daycare or a soldier in World War II. It's as serious as a car accident, whatever's happening.
Absolutely. All right, so I'm going with Stellan.
That's who I have
I'm
too.
going with Stellan Skarsgård for the Will Patton Award. Because first of all,
he was in there.
Stellan Skarsgård is basically the Will Patton of Iceland. Number 2, Will Patton could have just played Dr. Jim Whitlock.
He could have been
and it
perfect.
would have made sense.
That's right.
And yes, out of the 10 lines that Stellan has,
That's right.
3 of them are the back in a time when the world was just flesh and teeth.
If Will Patton had been in this movie during the experiment scene, he would have turned to Thomas Jane and said, "Get off the 50-foot shark."
Get off.
Stop rubbing the 50-foot shark. Put a shirt on.
All right, good. Well, we both picked Stellan. What, Brady? How about you? Who do you got for Will Patton?
I was going to go with the lady that I hate.
Brenda?
Tony Soprano's sister. Because like she's just like hamming it up in every scene she's
She
in.
is.
She is, yeah.
She's
she
fully
is.
in. She's fully in. Bob?
Chewing the scenery.
Hello, Cool J is my MVP.
MVP. And you thought he was the most intense.
Yeah, he was intense.
Okay. He was
They ate his bird, man.
he was really in it. He was in it.
He was in it.
not messing around in this movie.
No, I would. Yeah, he.
Whereas Thomas Jane seemed more like kind of tongue in cheek with his performance.
Yeah, Tom Jane was very like, eh.
Yeah.
So I'm not very good with Icelandish pronunciations, but I've got mine as something Bob would appreciate. I went with girl number 2 on the boat in the beginning. Oh my god, Sabrina.
Yeah, is that the orange one?
She Icelandic?
Really?
Right,
For the Will
yes.
Patton? For
Yes.
the Will Patton Award?
God bless
Sabrina
America.
Gearinch. If you're out there,
Whatever.
email the show.
Well, Ryan,
Yes.
here's the good news. Since he only got 2 votes,
Trash@gmail.com.
Thank you, Brady.
at gmail.com.
The good news is they all split their votes, so Stellan Skarsgård wins the Will Patton
Skarsgård is
Award.
the winner of the Will
That's
Patton
right,
Award.
is the winner.
There you go.
So, our next award we give out is the Trash Can Full of Dirt Award, which is the award that we give to the actor or actress who had the emotional range capacity of a trash can full of dirt in this movie.
Do we get to rank our top 5 on this one?
You have to pick one.
All right,
You have to pick one.
All 4 of the college kids.
Yeah, those are it's pretty bad.
you're just jealous.
That was about, he was like, you know, he's kissing on the woman, and he's like, oh, she's like, whoa, I felt something. He's like, yeah, I do too. And then they're like, hey, let's go dance by the other guys. And the other guy's like, and then the other dude raises his beer. He's like, we're having a party, man.
Right.
It's like, yeah, no shit, you're having a party.
And then the most unnecessary.
Just announce what's happening.
Yeah, right.
Then the most unnecessary foreshadowing of ever with the wine.
Women were
going
much
into
easier in the 90s, I hear.
Yes. Then the wine falling in the water, which
That's right.
Apparently it's blood.
Alcoholic sharks.
Alcoholics. What is that? I smell Moscato.
Merlot.
I smell Merlot.
Brady, who you got for your trash can full of dirt? Brenda also.
Oh man, I was actually thinking about it because just because you're chewing the scenery doesn't mean that you couldn't be replaced easily.
That's true.
She did have good calves.
I don't even know what that means.
She was wearing shorts, my guy. She had good calves.
It means it looked like she could deliver a sofa.
She could.
This is how Bob judges everybody.
Because she may, yeah.
What do you got?
Honestly, I think most people did a fairly. I mean, at least they tried.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But yeah, let's just go with Tony Soprano's sister.
Brenda with the double award from Brady. Bob, who's your trash can full of dirt, Bob?
LL Cool J is my number one for awesomeness, but everybody else in the cast is a trash can full of
You
dirt.
have to pick one. We'll come back to you, Mel.
So I have 5, but I'm going to go with
one.
my one. I have to go with, and there's some history here.
Yes.
Michael Rappaport.
Ooh.
Protest,
All
but it's
right.
your right to.
He and I have it. We actually have history together.
You really
You
do have
two.
history?
You two.
Yes.
Have history.
Yes, we worked on a show together, and I hate the guy.
I did not know that.
Can you tell us a story?
I cannot.
Oh,
All right.
Okay.
What show was it?
We'll take that. We'll take that off the
Well,
air.
time,
We'll
but-
take that off the air.
Was it The Way Home?
I'll pick
Yeah. Who you got?
peanut butter woman Jacqueline McKenzie.
Oh, no.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
But she did have the best death.
I picked. We're gonna have a split vote. No one picked the same two people, but we'll let the audience decide. Then send us an email at thisshowIstrash@gmail.com, and you can break the tie. My vote was for Saffron Burrows as Dr. McAllister.
I could
thought
see it.
She was pretty much stone faced through the entire movie. I'm like, anything, Doc? Are you literally anything happening up there?
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
I mean, no,
Is
she
this-
could-
Point.
Is this
Okay.
thing on?
That's a fair vote.
It is a fair vote. I could see it.
All right, boys. Last thing is our top 3 performers. So when you look at this movie, who do you think gave the best acting performances, the 3 best acting performances?
LL Cool J.
Number 1,
LL Cool J #1.
Bird.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Bird.
the bird.
Yep.
And the animatronic
You have the
shark.
bird above.
The
Yep.
bird and the shark.
Actually, that's right. The Bird and the Shark.
Hello, Cool J, the bird
bird
and
All
the
right,
shark.
I had LL Cool J in there, but I also thought Sam Jackson did his job. I mean, he wasn't bad. He didn't have a lot to work with. I mean, they kind of want him to be a pharmaceutical dweeb, but then he went full Sam for about 90 seconds.
Yeah.
And then I actually have Michael Rappaport because this isn't a personal thing. It's
look.
just based on the movie itself. I
Really.
liked his performance.
Really.
You can like him.
The
It's
second
okay.
best performance is Michael Rappaport.
Yeah, I agree.
See, I went with
Yeah.
Sam Jackson and LL Cool J kind of tied.
Okay.
And I went with Ronnie Cox for number 3.
Yes. Just for sitting there.
Ronnie Cox, is that a distant relative of yours, Brady, right?
I'm not sure. I could look it up.
Ronnie probably was sitting in the background of one of your family reunions and you didn't even know it was him.
Maybe he was
Probably not.
Maybe he was Santa Claus.
Who's your top 3, Brady?
LL Cool J, Michael Rappaport, Sam Jackson.
All right. I think, same as me. But I think it's. I understand this is a hard one to take a top 3. So, Bob, I don't fault you for saying.
The Shark and the Parrot.
The Shark and the Parrot,
After
yeah.
LL Cool J.
So now that we've kicked this movie and we've examined it,
In the grill.
we've turned it over, we've examined it from every angle conceivable. We have to answer the question: is this a bad movie? Full stop. Is it a bad movie that rules, or is it a straight up good movie? Mel.
It's a bad movie that rules.
Okay.
This movie's bad.
Just straight up bad.
Straight up bad.
Ryan?
I think it's a bad movie that absolutely rules.
Okay, fair enough. Brady?
It's a movie with its technical achievements that are, I mean, for the time, like it was one of the last big budget B movies.
Randy Harlan did say it was his most difficult film to make that he
Right,
made. So it was
right.
a high level of difficulty.
I mean,
sure.
they built all those sets in the.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it was just well, let's go find this thing and we'll shoot this little shark movie. Like
Right.
they put a lot into it. And
They
those
did.
the animatronics at the time were also
They just should have put more on the front end when they were putting pen to paper.
right. Like the
Yeah.
screenplay, which was uncredited, written by committee, as you say.
Committee scripts are the worst.
Yeah.
Brady, what do you think?
You know, my test for this is, do I look forward to watching this movie again?
Yes.
And I'll have to say no. I don't ever want to watch this movie again. And therefore, it's a bad movie.
Okay, fair enough. Wow. So we got 2 bad movies that rules, 2 bad movies. I do enjoy it. I don't know when I'll watch it again, but I probably will. So probably just barely over the line for me. It's a bad movie that rules. Yeah, absolutely. But would Arnold Schwarzenegger have made this movie better?
Arnold Schwarzenegger and LL Cool J team up. Arnold Schwarzenegger would dive in, grab one shark by the tail, grab the other shark by the tail, and just slap them together and make an explosion.
It would have been like in True Lies where he clonked the dogs together.
Yeah. Just except he did it to the sharks. It goes,
stay.
Boom.
Okay. So assuming the script doesn't change at all,
Yeah.
I kind of say no on this one.
You pick a part.
He does.
Pick a part, and he is better in it.
I was just gonna say, you could basically put.
Can't have Deep Blue Sea.
You could basically put Arnold Schwarzenegger as the shark wrangler.
That's
and
right.
It works. You could put him as Sam Jackson's president of the biopharmaceutical company.
Because you would never expect Arnold to get eaten.
No, and then you could put him as Saffron Burrows.
The shark would have broken its jaw. If he
You
tried
could put him as Saffron Burrows.
If they would have clapped up, and the shark would have spontaneously combust.
What happened? Did it try to eat me?
What is this? You don't eat me. Get out of here.
He would have
chopper. No, don't call the
reached
chopper.
in. He would have reached in, grabbed it by the tail, like you do with a squirrel if you can get a hold of one. And you're talking about like you're at a Steelers game with a terrible towel. That's right. And then bam. That's what would have happened.
So you went with the terrible towel.
That's right.
Between Schwarzenegger and LL Cool J, that movie would have made $500 million.
Thank you. There's no way. You can't say Thomas Jane, who I'm a fan of. I'm a pro Thomas Jane.
He sucked in this movie.
Okay. But you can't tell me him in his first movie is better in that part as a seasoned Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No.
No way.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. I would have taken Jim Varney and LL Cool J.
Do you know what this means?
This means the end of civilization as we know it.
That's right.
How about a bumper sandwich, booger lips?
Oh, boys, it's been wonderful. Thank you for coming on and talking about this very, regardless of whether we like it, those of us that do and those that don't, we can all agree it's so very dumb. And we appreciate that you've listened.
Not as dumb as Jake Lloyd.
Thank you guys for coming. Let's just take another shot, a parting shot at Jake Lloyd, just because we can.
Poor Jake Lloyd.
Carter Blake, keep it going.
And we appreciate you, the listener at home. Thank you for sticking with us and for listening. There's all kinds of free ways that you can support independent creators. You can share our podcast with a friend. You can share it on your page. You can like our content, interact with it, comment, email. All of those things help to support the show.
Listen to us while you're massaging your wife.
That's right. And if you're, a shark wrangler, there's got to be some of you out there. While you're swimming alongside those sharks,
listen to us.
Listen to us, please. Just put the radio kind of far away from the water's edge.
Turn off George Michael and listen.
That's right.
To us.
Listen to us. So.
And please, for the love of God,
on top of it.
put a shirt on.
That's right.
Yes, put a shirt on.
And join us next week, next Friday. We are going to have, for the first time ever, Brady Cox in person in the studio.
Oh my!
No longer beaming in from Nebraska, but here in person to talk about Strange Brew, the Rick Moranis and
Do you
Dave
have pants
Thomas.
on right now, Brady?
And
I'm sorry?
Do you have pants on right
you
now?
say?
Do you have pants on right now?
I do have pants. I put them on about an hour
we'll
ago.
finally get to discover whether Brady has legs. Okay, will he have legs? I don't know. We won't know till we're not going to leave. We'll leave you in suspense. Okay, but join us next week for Strange Brew, a movie that I have never seen, so I'm excited to see.
Oh my God!
Yeah, how I like it. So thank you guys for listening. On behalf of Brady Cox, Bob Hauser, Mel Vandy, and Ryan Farrell, I'm James Hauser. Thank you for listening.
I forgot to give you my best quote of the movie, though.
What is it?
You shout Barracuda, people are like, what's that? Huh? You shout shark, And now you got Panic on the 4th of July.
I think that's a different shark movie.
We're gonna ignore this particular problem until something swims up and bites you in the ass.
No, I got to go watch that. Thanks a lot.